Now, let's get to the next point. When Lagna Lord is getting into a Astanga. When I say Lagna Lord, remember this very, very, very important rule. I'm not just referring to the Lagna Lord. I'm referring to the Lagna also. Hereafter, you see in which degree that Lagna is. And if you see it close to the degree of Sun, yes, the Lagna is going to act or work like an Astangam. You will get so many beautiful points just by using this rule. So many beautiful points, unimaginable points just by going about and using this rule, right? So now you can write Lagna Lord getting into a combustion, which means even now what should you take? You should also take the Lagna degree into account. Number 1, delayed marriage or putra dosha. Delayed marriage or putra dosha. Number 2, see, not number 2, you can just write this down, or first you listen and then you write down. See, whenever you see a horoscope, and in that horoscope, if you see that the Lagna itself is getting into a combustion, right? Immediately, there are only 2 questions that should come into your mind. So let's say you see a Lagna here, right? Let's say the Lagna is in 12 degrees, right? And let's say you see Sun somewhere. It could be anywhere, by the way. It could also be the 8th from the Lagna. That's what I'm trying to tell you here, right? And let's say the Lagna is in 13 degrees. Then let's say the Sun is in 13 degrees. Then automatically you should treat it as Asta. You should treat it as combust, right? You should treat it as combust. This is the most important point. And the moment you see a horoscope like this, there are only 2 questions that should come from your mouth. One is either you don't have a child or you're not married. It's as simple as that, right? Which means whenever you see a horoscope of an unmarried person, either the Lagna or the Lagna Lord will be in close degree to the Sun degree. You just compare this. Right? When the Lagna Lord, when I'm referring to the Lagna Lord, in bracket, you can also write also the Lagna is getting into a combustion, and this Lagna Lord or Lagna, whichever it is associated with Ketu, then this person is a sannyasi. This person is a sannyasi. You should be very careful about this rule, especially when it comes to matching horoscopes, right? Very, very careful you should be when it comes to matching horoscopes. So for people in the northern part of India, okay, 4th, right? So let's say we have the ascendant, 12 degrees, right? So it can also be, what I was trying to tell here is, Sun can also be here, let's say 13 degrees, right? So let's say in this horoscope, the moment you see an association of Ketu also, then anything to do with marriage should be a careful endeavor, which means, let's say Ketu is aspecting the Lagna, then immediately you should be careful when it comes to marriage. Why? Because this qualifies for a person who would be a sannyasi. Now, we need to understand the context of a sannyasi. Sannyasi does not always mean somebody shaves his head and goes to the ashram to meditate. No. See, if you get such people married, what would usually happen is they will be living as a wife or a husband for some time. Suddenly they would leave everything and suddenly they would go away. It is just that, they won't like to take that responsibility. You would find so many irresponsible husbands, at times irresponsible wives also. No, this family is not for me. That is what we mean by a sannyasi, which means somebody who is detached, somebody who does not take responsibility for his family. Right? So you need to understand, whenever the Lagna or the Lagna Lord is getting into a combustion and then it is also associated with Ketu, right? Then automatically something to do with sannyasi. he or she being a sannyasi will operate. As I already told you before, see, it is not required for that graha to be in that same rashi or in that same bhava where the sun is. It can be in any of the rashi, as long as it is within this close degree. So this question should never arise in your mind that just because you know what a graha or a planet is far off, it is so far off from what? From sun. Like for here example, Lagna is so far off from the sun, so the impact will be less. No, the impact will be the same. Right? The impact, the treatment, everything will be the same. But the only difference is you will be able to take out this prediction. The other person won't be able to take out this prediction. So the prediction will be the same. The phala would be the same. Right? See, what I'm teaching you now is actually a part of a higher concept, which means what? This is something which should be taught to you only when you get into the higher stages in astrology.